Summer approaches the Central Asian steppe, not with force, but with a slow, warm breath that spreads across the land like a gentle hand, smoothing the earth awake. Before the season fully arrives, the world gives small signs of its coming. The nights grow softer, the winds lose their winter bite, and the grasses, dry and pale after colder months, begin to lift their heads toward the widening light. Then, almost quietly, the steppe opens. Its colors deepen, its scent grows richer, and the air carries a warm, sunlit calm that settles over every hill, every hollow, every distant horizon. It is in this softened world that the nomadic tribe begins its slow ascent toward the high summer pastures, the Jailu, where the grass is deep, the air is clear, and life feels as though it breathes a little more freely. The journey begins in the earliest hour of the day, when the sky still holds the pale blue of night's retreat. A thin veil of mist rests across the grasslands, glowing faintly under the first touch of sunrise. The dew is cool, the earth damp and fragrant, and the land carries a quiet stillness that feels ancient and unbroken. The tribe moves as one body, not hurried, not slow, just steady. Their pace follows the rhythm of the animals, the breath of the land, the familiar heartbeat of the yearly cycle. Horses lead the way, their coats darkened by the lingering moisture of night. Their hooves sink softly into the thick grass, leaving dark paths that fade as soon as the wind passes over them. Each breath they release forms a brief cloud in the cool morning air, blending into the mist as though the steppe itself is absorbing their warmth. Behind them, the great arbas roll forward, wooden carts with wide, sturdy wheels, built for the long distances of nomadic life. Their axles creak softly, like the low, familiar murmur of an elder clearing their throat. On the carts rest bundles of felt, thick layers of wool, wooden chests stained by years of dust and sun, and tools smoothed by countless hands. Sheep move in a broad, gentle wave, their wool catching droplets of dew that glitter in the rising light. Goats weave along the edges of the herd, nimble and sure-footed, their movements like strokes of quick, bright ink against the soft green canvas of the land. Camels follow at their own pace, slow, deliberate, their long legs moving in a steady rhythm that feels almost like rocking. Their breath has a warmth to it that mixes with the scent of earth, of dust, of old leather and sun-dried wool. Dogs trot alongside the animals, ears flicking, heads turning at every shift of sound. They do not bark. They listen. They guide. They belong. For the nomads, this journey is more than movement. It is a return to a place that feels like the heart of the world, a wide, open freedom reserved only for summer. As the sun climbs higher, the steppe begins to glow with a bright, golden clarity. The mist thins, the grass rises, The hills reveal their shapes and folds and gentle curves. Wind flows through the plains, warm and smooth, carrying the scent of wild flowers, drying soil, and distant water. When the high pastures finally appear, they look like a great green sea rolling softly beneath the open sky. The grass reaches the knees of the horses. It sways in long, slow waves that ripple outward with every breath of wind. Streams cut through the land like silver ribbons, their water cold and clear, bright under the midday sun. This place, chosen by generations, is where life feels widest and most harmonious. Unpacking the summer camp is done with quiet focus. There are no loud voices, no tension, only practiced movement. Men begin to raise the wooden frame of the yurt. Lattice walls unfold in a perfect circle. Long wooden poles are lifted upward, their ends meeting in the open ring of the tunduk. This circular opening is the eye of the sky, a gentle path for light and air to enter the living space. When the felt is lifted over the frame, the yurt becomes a shelter with its own breath. Shadows soften inside, the air cools. The curved walls hold the warmth of sun and the calm of wool. Around the camp, the animals spread out, settling into their summer freedom. Horses gallop a short distance, tails lifting, manes flowing like dark silk in the wind. Sheep and goats cluster together, their soft bleats blending into the natural hum of the land. The soundscape of the high pastures is gentle and endless. The whisper of tall grass, the low rustle of grazing, a distant shake of a horse's mane, a sheep's bell ringing softly in the breeze, and above it all, the vast, breathing quiet of open sky. By afternoon, the summer rhythm settles fully into place. Women prepare milk, fresh, warm, frothing in wooden bowls. Cheese is unwrapped in soft cloth. Irog and Iran cool the body under the steady heat. Men walk slowly through the herds, checking hooves, adjusting straps, brushing coats in long, calm strokes. Every movement is unhurried, woven into the wide, summer stillness. Children wander along the edges of camp, picking flowers, following insects, their small figures scattered like bright seeds across the grass. As evening approaches, the hills shift into deep gold. The light grows warm and low. The wind cools and begins to smell of water and dust and fading heat. Fires are lit with dried dung. The smoke rises in thin, straight columns, carrying a clean, earthy scent that blends with the wool, the grass, and the warm breath of animals settling down for the night. Inside the yurts, shadows move softly across the felt walls. Woolen blankets rest on low beds. Wooden bowls and chests glow faintly in the firelight. Outside, the sky deepens into dark velvet. Stars appear in slow, gentle clusters. The moon rises over the hills, casting its pale shine across the grasslands. The tribe rests. The animals breathe quietly. The night settles like a warm, dark cloak around the camp. Summer has arrived in full, and life, for a time, is nothing but calm, warmth, and the wide, deep breath of the open steppe. Summer on the high pastures does not rush. It unfolds slowly, like a long exhale from the land itself. After the tribe settles on the Gilo, life begins to flow in wide, gentle circles. Circles shaped by the sun, the wind, the animals, and the quiet discipline of generations who have lived in harmony with this open world. Every morning begins softly. The sun rises behind distant ridges, sending warm, golden light across the hills. Shadows stretch long and thin over the grass before quietly fading into the brightness of day. The air is cool at first, carrying the faint sense of dew-soaked wool, smoke lingering from last night's fire, and the mild sweetness of crushed grass beneath the animals' feet. Inside the yurts, the quiet warmth of wool and felt creates a small, gentle world. Light filters through the open tunduk, painting soft patterns on wooden bowls and woven blankets. The interior feels calm and lived in, a place shaped by simple, patient hands and by the steady rhythm of everyday tasks. As the first sounds of the morning rise, the camp awakens not with noise, but with a kind of collective breath. A horse shakes its mane, sending a soft ripple of sound through the early air. Sheep murmur as they shift and stretch. Dogs yawn, then trot quietly toward the outer edges of camp. Everything moves, but nothing rushes. The women begin the day with fluid, practiced motions. They gather near the wooden churns, lifting leather bags and bowls that have absorbed the scents and stories of many summers. Fresh mare's milk is poured into the large leather vessel, a dark, rounded skin that hangs from a sturdy wooden frame. As they mix the milk, the sound is rhythmic and hollow, like distant footsteps echoing across empty land. This is the beginning of kumis, the drink that carries the essence of summer. Its scent is a soft blend of warm milk and cool fermentation, a fragrance that belongs uniquely to the high pastures. Nearby, pieces of curd are cut, shaped, and set to dry. The sun hardens them slowly, turning them into small, firm shapes that will last through colder seasons. Bowls of iron cool the morning heat, their surfaces smooth and white,
like small pools of softened light. Men walk through the herds with patient steps. They move among the animals not as strangers, but as familiar, quiet guardians. Their hands slide over coats that are warm from sleep, checking for thorns, for small cuts, for anything that might need attention. Leather straps are tightened, hooves examined, long manes brushed until they fall clean and shining along the animals' necks. There is no urgency, only steady care. The children bring their own energy to the day, light, curious, but never disruptive. They wander along the edges of the pastures, collecting feathers, bright stones, or small wildflowers that dot the grass with gentle colors. Their laughter rises like tiny bells, mingling with the sounds of wind and grazing animals. By midday, summer reaches its full warmth. The air shimmers gently above the grass. The wind slows, moving like warm breath over the land. The sky is immense, stretching in every direction with no end, no interruption, only endless blue. This is when the work turns quiet and steady. Felt pieces are beaten, softened, and aired on wooden frames. The fibers release the faint scent of sheep's wool and sun-warmed dust. Women lay out embroidered bands, bright with traditional patterns that show the care and identity of their families. The colors, reds, deep blues, earthy browns, seem to glow against the bright summer light. Men repair saddles and tack, sitting on low stools as they stitch leather with simple, sure motions. Every strap, every buckle, every knot must be strong and dependable, for the entire life of the tribe moves with the animals. And through all this, dogs weave between the yurts, checking, listening, pausing to rest in the shade beneath wooden carts or behind soft stacks of felt. By nightfall, the air cools again into a low, soft dew. The moon rises or sinks in the sunless sky like a cold marker. The evening meal is simple, yet satisfying. Bowls of beef meat stew, bread made in pans over the fire, and teapots of black tea made with more milk brought comfort and warmth. The table is set under the open sky or in the yurt of the elders, where stories and lessons are shared over knob-like mugs of branded milk. The elders who speak have voices that have been shaped by wind and sun. They speak in slightly hollow tones. The faces of the young ones are glowing in the firelight, and the memories of their ancestors live in their words, like seeds planted in deep, deep soil. And so the day ends. The summer night falls like a cool silk, and the tribe sleeps in the embrace of the hills. Sometimes, in the far distance, a caravan appears, a slow procession of camels and merchants, moving along an ancient trade route. Their bells ring softly as they pass, fading into the vastness of the steppe. The tribe does not rush to meet them. The moment is simply observed, acknowledged, allowed to pass just as gently as it arrives. When the sun begins its descent, the world changes color. The hills glow with soft amber light. The grass takes on a warm honey gold sheen. Animals cast long shadows, stretching far behind them, as if time itself is lengthening in the gentlest way. This is the hour of rest, the time when the heat drops and the wind cools to a mild breeze that carries with it the scents of dust, wool, and faint traces of milk and smoke. The animals gather again near the camp. Horses nuzzle the ground with slow, thoughtful motions. Sheep curl together in soft, rounded shapes, their wool glowing under the evening light. Camels kneel with deep, grounded calm, their shadows merging into the slow, darkening grass. Fires are prepared, made from dried dung and small branches. The flames catch quietly, burning in steady orange hues that flicker gently against the curved walls of the yurts. The smell of the fire is warm and earthy, a blend of smoke and wool that settles around the camp like a protective cloak. Dinner is simple, but rich with comfort. Fresh milk warmed over the fire, soft cheese, and bread that carries the faint crispness of sun-drying. The tribe eats in calm silence, letting the evening settle deep into their bones. As night comes, the sky becomes a vast expanse of stars. The tunduk of each yurt frames a small circle of sky, a window through which the universe seems both close and endlessly far. The wind moves softly over the grasslands, carrying cool traces of distant rivers and night flowers. Dogs curl beside the yurts. Horses stand still, heads lowered, resting in the gentle quiet. Inside the yurts, shadows move in soft, rounded patterns across the felt walls. Blankets are neatly folded. Small chests sit closed near the beds. The fire burns low, sending a faint orange glow around the room like a heartbeat. The tribe sleeps to the gentle sounds of summer, the wind through the grass, the slow breaths of animals, and the quiet, ancient hum of the steppe at night. Here on the high pastures, summer life flows with deep simplicity and soft abundance. Every day is warm, every night is mild, and the world expands in every direction without ever overwhelming the quiet spirit of the nomadic people. Autumn does not enter the high pastures with sudden cold or sharp winds. It arrives gently, as if the steppe itself is taking a slow, thoughtful breath before the world begins to change. The first sign is the light. Summer sunlight, which once fell heavy and bright across the rolling grass, begins to soften. It becomes deeper, warmer, almost golden. The mornings stretch just a little longer in cool blue tones, and the evenings linger with a quiet, warm glow that seems to rest on every blade of grass. The second sign is the air. It carries a new kind of clarity, a faint edge beneath the warmth, like the first whisper of a distant snowfall. The wind feels different too. In summer, it moves freely, warm and open. But now it turns cool in the mornings and at dusk, sliding through the valleys with a soft, searching touch. The Nomans notice these things long before the land fully transforms. After generations on this earth, their senses read every small shift as if each change were a quiet sentence spoken by the land. The horses notice it too. Their coats grow slightly thicker. Their movements become calmer, as though they are saving a little more energy for the colder days ahead. The sheep gather a bit closer in the evenings. Goats pause at the tops of small rises, lifting their heads toward the wind as if tasting its new sharpness. Even the dogs, usually so full of playful wanderings, now lie for longer stretches near the yurts, ears flicking toward new sounds carried by the cooling air. But the clearest sign of the season comes from above. Birds begin to move. Small groups gather on rocks, their wings folded, their bodies still, as they sense a distant calling in the air. Later, as the days shorten, larger flocks appear. Great sweeping formations that cross the sky like shifting shadows. Their voices echo over the hills, a layered chorus that rises and falls with the wind. It is a sound that seems to stretch across time itself, a sound the tribe has heard every year for as long as anyone can remember. For the people, this is the true beginning of autumn. Not the colors, not the cold, but the movement of life across the skies. The steppe begins to turn its golden shades slowly. Greens fade to warm yellows. Pale browns appear at the tips of tall grasses. Soft purple flowers shrink back into the soil, their season ending quietly. Yet nothing feels sad. The land is simply shifting, like a great animal settling into a new position for comfort. The nomadic tribe moves through these changes with a calm acceptance. Autumn is not a threat. It is a transition, a gentle reminder that every season carries its own tasks, its own gifts. Daily life continues just as softly as before. The mornings are cooler but still calm. Smoke rises from the yurts, drifting upward in thin blue spirals that dissolve into the pale sky. Inside the yurts, the air holds a mild warmth. The fire burns low in the early hours, letting out a gentle glow that reflects on wooden cups and neatly stacked blankets. Women wrap shawls around their shoulders as they begin their work. The air around them smells of fresh wool, fermented milk, and felt warmed by morning fire. They prepare the last batches of summer dairy, the final fresh kumis before the colder winds arrive. The leather vessels sway softly as they work, producing a slow rhythm that blends with the crackle of the small fire. Men rise early to check the herds. Their steps leave faint marks on the dew-covered grass, which glitters under the morning sun like scattered silver. They observe the animals, noting changes in behavior, in movement, in the patterns of how they graze. Their hands brush over thickening coats, feeling the small yet certain signs that the season is turning. Children sense the change in their own way. The cool air makes their breath visible in the early morning light, and they watch it with quiet fascination. Their games move closer to camp, their steps leaving playful patterns in the soft, damp ground. Even the landscape seems to become more aware. The hills grow sharper in silhouette. Distances appear clearer. The sounds of distant rivers carry further in the thinner air. And when the wind blows through the tall grass, it creates a deeper whisper, a low, harmonizing sound that feels older, more ancient than the summer breeze. In the afternoons, the world warms again, though never as strongly as in the height of summer. The sun casts a gentle fire across the plains, turning the grass into rolling fields of gold. Dust glows in the light, caught in slow drifting currents that twist softly around the hooves of passing animals. This is the season of long shadows. The animals walk with dark, stretched forms on the fading grass. The yurts cast wide circles that touch one another as the sun lowers. And the tribe sits outside in calm silence, letting the day's warmth rest on their skin before the air cools again. As evening approaches, a new scent rises, the scent of autumn earth. It is richer, heavier, mixed with the fragrance of fallen grass and the faint sweetness of distant trees preparing for sleep. The fires burn earlier now. Their smoke drifts low and steady, wrapping the camp in a warm, earthy fragrance. The dogs move closer to the yurts. Horses stand still, heads bowed, as a light breeze moves over their backs. The tribe sits quietly, watching the sky shift into deep purples and soft reds. It is a sky filled with slow-moving clouds that glow with the last warm breath of the sun. And as darkness settles, the first cool stars appear, clearer and sharper than in summer, as if the air itself is polishing their light. When the night grows deep, the only sounds are the calm breaths of the animals, the quiet rustle of grass in the wind, and the low, steady crackle of the fires. The tribe sleeps beneath a sky that has already begun to change, a sky preparing for colder nights and longer shadows. They sleep knowing that autumn has begun, not with fear, but with the deep, peaceful understanding that the cycle continues just as it always has. The first signs of the season have arrived, softly, gently, as natural as the turning of the earth itself. Autumn deepens quietly on the high pastures. The warm gold of early fall shifts into deeper, calmer tones. Soft amber, muted brown, the pale shimmer of dry grass moving like thin silk under the cool breath of the wind. The tribe feels these changes not with worry, but with a steady, grounded calm. Autumn is the season of work, of preparation, of gathering strength for the long stillness of winter. It is the time when every motion, every task, every quiet hour leads toward warmth and survival and the gentle comfort of shelter. The mornings begin colder now. Frost appears in delicate crystals along the edges of the grass. When the first light touches it, the ground sparkles softly, a thin, shimmering blanket that disappears with the first warmth of day. The air carries a sharper fragrance, the smell of drying leaves, earth cooling beneath the surface, and the faint smoke of early fires. Inside the yurts, the hearth is lit sooner. A soft, steady flame glows beneath the open tunduk, sending warm shadows dancing across the curved walls. The smell of burning dung mixes with wool, milk, and the wooden scent of carved bowls and small chests. Women begin the day with practiced movements, movements shaped by generations of hands doing the same work in the same season under the same shifting sky. They dry the last of the summer herbs in the crisp morning air. The leaves rustle softly as they are tied in bunches and hung under the eaves of the yurts. Their scents, bitter, sweet, earthy, drift into the breeze and return to mix with the smell of grass and cooling soil. Milk is processed more carefully now. Fresh kumis grows rarer, its season ending, but thick yogurt, dried curds, and firm cheeses continue to fill wooden shelves and leather bags. Each piece is shaped by hand, pressed carefully, and dried slowly beneath the gentle autumn sun. Outside, the work of the men deepens in focus. The herds must be inspected with greater care than ever before. With winter approaching, every animal becomes essential. Every horse, every sheep, every goat, a living thread in the fabric of survival. Men move among the herds with calm precision. They lift hooves to check for cracks. They run hands along thickening coats to search for injuries. They repair halters, smooth leather straps with oil and patience, and tighten knots that must survive months of cold. The sound of their work is soft and steady, the creak of leather, the muted thud of wool-heavy bodies shifting in the grass, the quiet rumble of camels settling into their slow rhythm. In the distance, the hills shine a deeper gold. Patches of red shrubs dot the slopes, coloring the land with soft autumn fire. The sky becomes wider, cleaner, its blue carrying a deeper resonance as the air cools. As the days shorten, the tribe begins its most important task, preparing the food that will sustain them through winter. The work is gentle, never rushed. Meat is sliced into thin, even strips and hung on wooden racks to dry under the sun. The scent rises, a mix of fresh meat, cool air, and the faint earthiness of drying grass. It is not a harsh smell. It is the smell of preparation, of care, of intention. Fat is rendered slowly in small pots over the fire. It melts into a clear, warm liquid that hardens in containers lined with cloth. This fat will feed the tribe when the land sleeps beneath winter snow. Bones are boiled into rich broth that fills the yurts with warm steam and comforting fragrance. Nothing is wasted. Every piece, every drop, every part of the animal is treated with respect. A respect that comes from knowing that life depends on this slow, careful work. The yurts themselves must also be prepared. Women spread the felt covers across the grass and beat them gently with wooden taddles. Dust clouds rise slowly into the air, drifting like pale smoke before dissolving into the wind.
The felt softens under the sun's warmth, its fibers loosening and settling into thicker, warmer layers. These layers will keep out the sharp winter cold, holding warmth inside the circular walls. Men check the wooden frames, each pole, each joint, each woven strip of lattice. They run their palms over the smooth surfaces, feeling for cracks or weaknesses. Their fingers follow the grain of the wood, honoring the material that has sheltered their people for generations. Outside the yurts, ropes are replaced with fresh, strong fibers made from twisted hair and wool. They are pulled tight and tied securely in wide, reliable knots. Even the arbas, the great wooden carts that bear the weight of their lives, are inspected. Wheels are tightened, axles greased with oil, planks strengthened with new layers of leather. Every item the tribe owns is touched, checked, repaired, or stored. Nothing is left to chance. Autumn is the season when the world slows and deepens. Children feel this too. Their games become softer, more thoughtful. They gather firewood, stacking it neatly beside the yurts. They collect stones to line the hearths for better heat retention. Their laughter still rings gently through the camp, but it blends with the quieter mood of the season. As the sun lowers more quickly each evening, the land becomes painted in warm, dim colors. The hills glow with amber and brown. The grass sways in slow, heavy waves. The wind carries a cool edge that brushes the skin like a soft warning of the winter ahead. When the day's work ends, the tribe gathers around small fires. The flames burn low, steady, quiet, their soft orange light pulsing against the felt walls and the darkening sky. The smell of smoke mixes with the crisp scent of autumn earth. Above the camp, the sky holds a clearer constellation of stars, shining with cold, sharp brilliance. This is the time when elders sit, with stillness in their eyes, watching the horizon as if reading the land's future in the shapes of distant hills. They do not speak words of fear or worry. They do not hurry the work. They simply understand that each season gives what it must, and that every task completed is a thread woven into the warmth of the coming winter. Autumn deepens further with every passing day. The world grows quieter. The air grows cooler. The light grows softer. And as the tribe prepares for the long cold ahead, they move through the season with calm hearts, knowing that winter is not something to survive, but something to meet with readiness, with warmth, with the quiet confidence that comes from living in harmony with the ancient breath of the steppe. Winter arrives in the steppe, not with a single storm or a sudden drop of temperature. It comes gradually, like a long shadow stretching across the land from a distant horizon. It begins with the wind, the same wind that once carried the warm breath of summer and the golden softness of autumn now shifts its tone. It grows cooler, clearer, more distant. It slides across the grass with a thin, sharp whisper, as if testing the strength of everything it touches. The grasses, tall and golden just days before, begin to stiffen. Their tips grow pale, dusty with frost that forms overnight and melts slowly under the late sun. The sky, so open and blue in summer, now deepens into wide steel-gray expanses that stretch endlessly from one horizon to the other. Clouds move slower and lower, casting cool shadows that pass over the land like drifting thoughts. The animals feel the change first. Horses nudge closer together, their coats thickening into warm, protective layers. Their breaths rise in pale, misty clouds as they graze, each exhale a soft pulse of warmth in the cooling air. Sheep and goats cluster in round, gentle groups, their wool catching the morning frost like tiny crystals woven into their coats. Camels kneel more often, folding their long legs beneath them to conserve heat, their bodies swaying with a slow, steady calm unique to their kind. Dogs curl tighter near the entrances of the yurts, their fur rising to meet the cool wind as they watch the land with familiar, quiet alertness. For the tribe, the coming of winter is not a moment of fear. It is a season they have lived through many times before, a season that brings hardship, yes, but also stillness, warmth, and a deep sense of togetherness. The move to the winter camp begins with calm preparation. Men lead the herds down from the high pastures toward lower, more sheltered valleys. Their steps follow routes known for generations, paths protected from wind, lined with natural ridges and small clusters of trees that offer some defense against the coming cold. Women pack the yurts with practiced motions. Felt layers are folded and tied, wooden chests are secured, cooking tools, woven mats, and warm blankets are placed inside the arbas, the great wooden carts that creak softly as they move across the hardening earth. The journey is slower now,
The air bites gently at exposed skin. Distant ridges appear sharper, closer, as if winter is pulling the world inward. Snow begins to appear in delicate traces along the ground. Thin patches cling to the shadows of rocks and the bases of low shrubs, melting by midday and returning again the next morning. The first real snowfall comes silently. The sky turns pale and heavy with clouds, and then, as if the world is holding its breath, small white flakes begin to drift downward, not in flurries, not in swirls, but in slow, steady motion, each one landing softly on felt, on wool, on leather, on grass. The sound of the step changes. The crisp rustle of dry grass softens under the gentle weight of fresh snow. Horses move with quieter steps, their hooves muffled by the thin white layer. The breeze loses its edge, becoming rounder, heavier, carrying the cold like a warm breath carries smoke. When the tribe reaches its wintering place, the land feels different, less open, more enclosed. Small hills rise on either side, forming a natural cradle against the winds. A stream, now frozen at its edges, curves gently nearby, its surface reflecting the muted sky. The yurts are raised quickly, yet without haste. The wooden frames stand firm and circular against the pale landscape. Thick felt layers are pulled over them, their heavy fibers offering a barrier against frost and wind. Ropes are tightened, knots reinforced, and outer flaps secured to keep warmth inside. Inside the yurts, the world is transformed. A fire is lit in the center hearth. It burns with slow confidence, a steady orange glow that fills the small space with warmth and life. The air smells of burning dung, dry wood, and the faint sweetness of heated milk. Shadows gather along the curved walls, moving gently with the flicker of flames. The woolen carpets on the floor soften each step, their fibers warm beneath bare feet. Outside, the wind grows stronger as winter settles deeper. It sweeps across the land with long, rounded motions, carrying with it the distant hum of the sleeping steppe. Inside, the sounds are soft, the crackle of fire, the rustle of felt curtains, the deep, slow breaths of people and animals finding comfort in shared shelter. Men check the animals each evening. Horses are tied in the most sheltered areas, protected from the wind. Wooden troughs are filled with grains and hay. Sheep huddled together in thick, warm clusters, their wool glowing faintly in the dim winter light. Dogs patrol the perimeter, their paws leaving small patterns in the thin snow. Their presence brings comfort,
a quiet assurance that the night is watched and that the camp is safe. Women prepare warm meals, thick broths, steamed grain, hot milk, their hands moving with calm familiarity. The steam rises in soft spirals, blending into the warm air and carrying a scent that soothes the cold from the inside out. Night falls early now. The sky darkens before the work is done, layering the steppe in deep blue tones. Stars appear in sharp, bright clusters, their light reflecting off the snow like scattered fragments of ice. Inside the yurts, the fire burns low, casting a glowing halo through the open tunduk into the freezing air above. Winter has arrived. And though the world outside is cold, wide, and still, the heart of the tribe beats warm and steady, a small circle of life protected by wool, fire, and the quiet strength of their traditions. Winter in the steppe creates a world of deep stillness. The wind continues its long wandering across the frozen plains. But inside the winter camp, life moves with a softness found in no other season. Night falls early now, folding over the land like a thick, dark blanket. The sky becomes heavy with stars, bright, cold, unmoving, as if each one has settled to watch over the sleeping world. Within this quiet, the yurts glow with warm orange light. The felt walls hold the heat like gentle hands, and the air inside is thick with the scent of wool, wood smoke, and simmering broth. Here, in the slow heart of winter, the tribe turns inward, toward stories, toward memory, toward the lingering presence of those who came before. Everything revolves around the fire. The fire is not only heat, it is not only light. To the nomadic people, the fire is a living presence, a guide, a witness, a sacred companion that links the living world with the unseen. Its smoke rises through the open tunduk and disappears into the cold night above. That smoke carries prayers, gratitude, and quiet requests for protection into the vastness of the sky. The crackle of burning dung is gentle, steady, like the soft breathing of a calm animal. Its scent, earthy and warm, fills the space with a feeling of safety, reminding everyone that even in the coldest season, life remains present. The tribe sits near the warm center of the yurt, wrapped in layered coats of wool and fur.
The youngest members lie close to their mothers, sleeping lightly to the rhythm of the fire's soft glow. The elders sit closest to the light. Their faces show the long memory of winter, the quiet understanding that this season is a time for listening rather than doing. They do not speak words around the fire. Speech disturbs the sacred quiet. Instead, their presence carries the weight of many winters, and the fire seems to respond to them, its glow deepening whenever an elder shifts or breathes slowly. Winter spirituality is not a ritual of noise. It is a ritual of attention. Attention to the crackle of wood. Attention to the shape of smoke. Attention to the soft shifting of shadows as flames dance against the felt walls. Attention to the space between sounds, the deep, peaceful silence in which the spirit of the land can be felt. Outside the yurt, the wind moves over the snow in long sighs. It hums low between rocks and ridges like a distant voice traveling across time. Sometimes a dog barks softly, a single sound that echoes and then fades into the frozen dark. A horse shifts its weight, its hooves making muted impressions in the snow. The cold air carries a faint scent of frost and dry grass, mixing with the warmth within. Inside, the tribe tends to quiet work. Women weave wool into blankets thick enough to hold warmth through the longest nights. Their fingers move slowly, softly, gliding through fibers that hold the memory of sunlight from seasons past. Men repair tools, shape wooden handles, strengthen harnesses in calm, deliberate motions. The smell of worked leather mingles with smoke, creating an atmosphere that feels ancient, steady, and grounding. In the deepest part of winter, the tribe holds a quiet, sacred tradition. When the night is clear and the stars shine sharply through the tunduk, the elders perform a gentle smoke blessing. A small handful of herbs, dried in the warm days of summer, is placed carefully upon the fire. The flames accept them with a soft hiss, releasing a rich aromatic smoke that swirls upward in smooth spiral shapes. The smoke rises through the opening in the roof and carries with it the hopes and quiet wishes of the tribe. It is believed that the spirits of the steppe, the silent protectors that watch over the land, breathe in these offerings and return strength and calm to the people. The tribe sits still during this moment, their breathing slow, their faces peaceful. There is no urgency, no fear, only trust and deep connection with the rhythm of the earth. Outside, the land sleeps.
Snow covers everything in gentle, white quiet. The hills become rounded shapes, softened by winter's touch. The world seems to hold its breath, as if waiting for something sacred to pass through it. The moon rises over the frozen plains, casting a pale glow that reflects across the snow like silver light on calm water. Within the yurts, the warmth continues. The fire burns steadily. The shadows sway in slow, curving patterns. The air is thick with calm and comfort. The tribe rests in this world of stillness, breathing slowly, moving quietly, cherishing the silent bond between people, fire, and the wide, sleeping steppe. Winter spirituality is not something taught, it is something felt. It is the hush of a cold night. It is the warm breath of a horse standing quietly nearby. It is the soft glow of firelight on a felt wall. It is the silent trust in generations before, and the gentle hope for generations to come. In this deep winter, as the land sleeps and the sky stretches endlessly above, the tribe finds warmth not only in fire and wool and shelter, but in the ancient, unbroken connection between themselves and the living spirit of the steppe.
The grass turns from pale yellow to light green. The streams widen and move more quickly, their waters clearer with each passing day. Soft buds appear on distant shrubs, their tips glowing faintly in the afternoon sun. Women begin washing winter clothing in the cold streams, wool coats, thick blankets, felt boots, laying them over rocks in the wind to dry. Their hands feel the warmth of water that only days ago was solid ice. Inside the yurts, the heavy winter layers are taken down, folded and stored. The interior grows lighter. Shadows cast by the fire move gently across cleaner walls, and the space feels wider, more open, ready for a new season. Children play with their newborn lambs, following their small, unsteady steps through the grass. Their laughter returns to the camp, soft, quiet, and filled with warmth. Men prepare the first tools needed for the coming migrations, checking the ropes, tightening knots, repairing wooden handles. Everything must be ready long before the tribe moves back to the summer pastures. The elders step outside more often now. Winter had kept them close to the fire, wrapped in warmth, their movements slow and thoughtful. But spring draws them to the fresh air, to the smell of thawing soil, to the sight of distant hills shedding their winter stillness. They lift their faces to the wind, letting it brush against their skin, carrying memories of the seasons that came before. Spring is not merely a change in weather. It is a return to movement, to creation, to the gentle expansion of life. It is the season where the land wakes, where animals grow, where children laugh, where the tribe prepares for the long open days of summer. The steppe begins to breathe again, slow, deep, and full of promise. And the tribe in this soft, awakening world breathes with it, knowing that every spring, like every winter, is part of the same eternal circle that guides their lives across the vast, endless land. Winter loosens its hold in the quietest way, not with sudden warmth nor with loud change, but with gentle, almost secret signs that appear one by one across the wide steppe. It begins with sound. For months, the land has spoken only in soft winter tones. The wind's long sighs, the muffled steps of animals moving over snow, the quiet crackle of fires burning through cold nights. But now, in early spring, a new sound appears. A faint dripping, just one drop at a time, as icicles begin to melt under the pale morning sun. Then another sound joins it, a distant trickle, soft as a whispered note, as the first small streams wake from their frozen stillness and begin to move again. The earth, which has slept deeply beneath snow and frost, now breathes in warmth and releases the scent of damped soil, dark and rich, waiting for life to return. Snow begins to shrink into scattered patches, their edges glowing as droplets roll down into the softening ground. Thin blades of grass, yellowed at first, push slowly upward, reaching toward the widening light. The animals sense it before anyone else. Sheep lift their heads more often, sniffing the air as if catching the memory of green pastures. Goats climb small rocks with renewed energy, their steps quicker, their movements brighter. Horses shift eagerly, tails flicking, manes lifting in the warming breeze. Their breaths, once white with winter cold, now fade into the air with no trace of frost. But the clearest sign of the season's turning is the new life that arrives quietly, softly, in the heart of the herd. The first lamb of spring is born on a cool morning as mist rises gently from the thawing earth. Its wool is damp, thin, and warm.
Its small body trembles with the effort of first breath. Its cry, quiet, high, and fragile, echoes softly between the yurts. Then another lamb, and another. Soon the camp is filled with the tender sound of new life, faint bleats blending with the steady breaths of their mothers. The air becomes thick with warmth, with the scent of wool, milk, and soft spring earth. Children watch with wide, calm eyes, their small hands outstretched toward the new arrivals, their steps slow and careful on the softening ground. Inside the yurts, the fires burn lower now. The warmth of the season begins to settle naturally into the felt walls, the woven mats, the wooden floors. The smell of smoke merges with the moist fragrance of the earth outside. Women hang blankets and felt pieces near the entrance, allowing the spring wind to pass through the fabric and carry away the deep cold held from winter. Their motions are slow and gentle, shaking out wool, laying blankets in the light, cleaning wooden bowls with fresh, cool water from newly melted streams. Men begin their spring work, moving the animals from one patch of grass to another, seeking early growth that offers the first taste of fresh grazing. Their boots press into the soft ground, leaving shallow footprints that fill with water as the sun melts the last remnants of frost. The sky, which had been gray and silent through much of winter, now shifts into soft shades of blue. Thin clouds drift lazily across its expanse, changing shape with the quiet movement of the wind. In the evenings, the world glows with a pale silver light as the moon shines over wet earth and sparkling streams. The sounds of nighttime, silent for so long, begin to return in small, careful steps. A bird's single note, a gentle rustle of awakening insects, the soft splash of melting snow falling into water. The tribe gathers outside the yurts to watch the sky shift from cool blue to soft lavender. The air carries a mixture of cold and rising warmth, the perfect balance that belongs only to early spring. Sheep stretch in the fading light, their fur catching reflections of the pinkish sky. Horses graze in calm circles, their tails sweeping slowly from side to side. As the days grow longer, the land transforms in small but steady steps.
Spring deepens. In a quiet, thoughtful way, the land is no longer waking. It is fully awake, stretching itself slowly beneath the warming sky. The snow is gone now. Only faint traces remain in the shadows of distant hills, glimmering like pale memories of the season that has passed. The earth carries moisture from weeks of melting, its scent rich and deep, rising softly every time the wind stirs. Streams run clearer, their waters thin and lively, slipping around stones that had been trapped beneath winter ice. The sound of flowing water is constant, a calm, repeating rhythm that fills the space between yurts and travels far across the steppe. The animals grow stronger each day. Lambs, no longer trembling, now move with confidence. nudging one another, running in short bursts through patches of thickening grass, their small hooves tapping lightly against the damp earth. Horses stand tall beneath the brightening sky, their coats shedding the last of winter's thickness. Each movement sends soft tufts of hair drifting through the wind like delicate feathers. Their muscles tighten, their steps grow more steady, as if they too sense that a long journey is not far away. Dogs rest closer to the yurts, their ears alert to the changing sounds of the land, the return of insects, the distant cry of birds, the gentle clatter of wooden tools as the tribe prepares for the coming migration. Inside the camp, the work begins quietly. Women spread felt pieces across clean grass to warm in the sun. The colors, soft whites, dusty browns, warm grays, glow under the light, showing patterns of careful stitching and years of use. Each piece is inspected with calm hands. Edges are checked. Small tears from winter wear are mended with slow, patient movements. Nothing is rushed. Spring offers time to prepare, to restore, to gather strength. Wooden poles used to support the yurts are cleaned and laid in long rows next to the camp. The grain of the wood shines beneath spring sunlight, revealing fine lines formed over countless seasons. Leather ropes are softened with warm water and animal fat, their surfaces turning smooth and flexible again. Hands pull each rope gently, testing its strength. These ropes will soon bind the entire home, holding the structure firm during summer winds. Near the edge of camp, men repair saddles. Thick leather is lifted, pressed, and shaped. Wooden frames are checked for cracks. Metal pieces are polished until they catch the sun with a soft, warm glow. The scent of treated leather mixes with the smell of wet earth and new grass, creating a quiet harmony unique to this season. Children help in small, steady ways. They gather dry sticks for the fires. They carry bowls filled with warm water to women cleaning tools. Their footsteps are light and scattered, like birds hopping through patches of sunlight. As they work, they pause often to watch the animals, to follow insects moving across the grass, or to listen to the water flowing gently nearby. In the distance, the horizon shifts from deep green to a soft, hazy blue. The mountains, silent through the winter, now show streaks of melting snow running down their slopes like pale silver lines. The sky above them expands each day, its color warming, its light stretching longer into the evening. This is the season when the tribe looks not only at the land around them, but also at the land ahead. Preparations move from the inner camp to the open steppe. Men walk the paths in long arcs, steadying the terrain. They trace the routes they will soon follow toward rich summer pastures where grass grows tall and rivers run wide. Their eyes move slowly across the landscape, reading it as their ancestors did, through color, through wind direction, through the behavior of animals. Back in the camp, women organize the tools and items that will be packed onto horses and camels. Wooden chests are cleaned and lined with soft fabric. Small clay pots are placed carefully inside, filled with salt, butter, dried herbs, and the last of winter spices.
Bags woven from wool hold beads, thread, and tools for sewing. Other bags carry coils of rope, needles made of bone, pieces of felt, and simple wooden utensils. Larger containers are filled with dried meat prepared during winter. Thin strips stored safely inside cool, shaded spaces within the yurts. The smell of smoked meat remains mild and comforting, a reminder of the season now behind them. Slowly, the shape of the camp begins to change. Felt pieces are folded and stacked near the central fires. Wooden poles are arranged in neat bundles. Leather ropes are knotted in organized loops so they can be reached quickly when the time comes to take down the yurts. Animals sense the growing energy. Horses lift their heads whenever a rope is moved. Camels meal patiently as pack frames are inspected and cleaned. Sheep gather near the edges of camp, their bodies forming soft, moving shapes against the brightening grass. As the sun rises higher each day, the warmth grows thicker. Light settles on the yurts, on the tools, on the steady hands that prepare everything for the journey. Evenings become especially beautiful. Long shadows stretch across the ground. The air cools just enough to feel like a soft ribbon sliding through the grass. Fires burn with a gentle glow, their smoke carrying the faint scent of spring herbs tossed into the flames. The tribe gathers in calm circles, listening to the land, not speaking, only breathing, resting, absorbing the feeling of a season that is almost ready to open fully into summer. Above them, stars begin to appear one by one, their reflections trembling in the nearby streams. The preparations are nearly complete. Ropes coiled, wood polished, felt cleaned, food stored, animals strengthened, people rested. Soon the tribe will rise with the sun, take down their homes, and move forward into the wide, open world of summer. For now, they sit in the gentle quiet of spring's final days, a moment balanced between what has been and what will come, between stillness and movement, between memory and expectation. The steep holds them in a soft embrace, and the tribe in return waits with calm hearts for the moment when the long journey begins again.
Time for a nomadic tribe was never a straight line. It did not move forward like a road with one direction, nor did it fall behind them like a path they could not return to. Time in the steppe was a wide circle, soft, patient, endlessly turning with the seasons. Each year felt less like a journey through changing days and more like a quiet breathing, a long inhale
as summer arrived, and a slow exhale as winter returned. The steppe itself taught them this rhythm. In summer, the land opened fully, spreading out in warm winds, high grasses, and bright skies that seemed to stretch to the edges of the world. The tribe moved with ease, following herds across generous plains. In autumn, the world shifted inward. Grass became gold, air grew stiller, the sun softened into a deeper, quieter light. The tribe prepared, gathering strength for the colder days ahead. In winter, everything became small. The sky pressed lower. Snow muted the earth until it felt like walking on folded cloth. People stayed close to the warm center of their yurts, living through long nights held by the breath of the fire. In spring, life returned in threads. Water began to flow. Animals gave birth. Grass pushed up through dark soil, and the tribe followed the land's awakening just as they had countless times before. This slow, rhythmic turning was the core of their understanding. Nothing was ever lost. Nothing was ever final. Everything returned. The elders spoke of time not as something you could count, but as something you could feel, in the movement of clouds, in the way the wind shifted before a storm, in the sound of hoofs echoing across the earth. They knew that a year was not made from numbers or days. A year was built from sensations. The smell of new grass meant early spring. The long hum of insects meant high summer. The silence before snow meant winter's approach. People learned time through the land, and the land never spoke quickly. Even the youngest children grew up sensing how the world moved. They could tell when the air tasted of coming rain. They noticed how the light shifted in the evenings, painting the yurts in different shades from month to month. Their understanding was not taught in words. It flowed into them as naturally as the breath they took each morning. Time in this world had weight, but it was gentle, like a blanket laid across the shoulders, reminding them of where they had been and where they would go. The tribe understood that every season carried both gifts and trials, but none stayed forever. Heat passed, cold passed, life ripened, life rested. And always, after each turning, the land offered another beginning. This way of seeing time shaped everything about the nomadic life. They never stayed in one place long enough to cling to it. They moved because the land moved, and the land moved because time moved. Nothing was fixed, everything breathed. Even the yurts, built with careful hands, held together with felt, rope, and curved wooden ribs, were made to be lifted, carried, rebuilt. Homes were not walls that held people in place. Homes were circles, built in the morning, taken down at sunrise, carried through valleys, and raised again beneath a different patch of sky. The fire inside was always the same, yet never the same place. And this, too, was time. The horses knew it. Their bodies adjusted with each season. In summer, they grew sleek and fast, their coats shining beneath warm light. In winter, their fur thickened into soft, dense layers that protected them against snow. Their senses, more ancient than memory, followed the changes long before people did. Birds taught time as well. Their flights across the sky were quiet messages. Some left when the wind cooled. Some returned when the grass reached their ankles. The tribe understood these small signs as clearly as footprints on wet earth. This was the world they lived in, a place where every creature, every sound, every shift in the air carried meaning. Time did not belong to them. They belonged to time, and they welcomed it.
When summer arrived, they did not celebrate with noise. They welcomed warmth the way one welcomes a familiar friend, with open hands and steady hearts. When winter arrived, they did not fear it as an enemy. They bowed to it, respecting its quiet strength, knowing it held lessons of patience, rest, reflection. Their wisdom was not written in books or stones. It lived in everyday moments, in the turning of milk into kumis, in the careful stitching of felt, in the slow shaping of wooden tools. These rituals were not tasks. They were parts of time made visible. The elders often said that a year was not a circle drawn in the sand. It was a circle drawn inside the body, in breath, in movement, in memory. And so, as another year approached its fullness, the tribe looked outward over the soft green land and inward into their own hearts, feeling how the cycle continued without end. There was no hurry, no rush, no need to race ahead. Time was patient, and they walked within it as gently as a horse moves through tall summer grass, as slowly as a lamb rises for its first steps, as softly as the wind that travels for miles without ever raising its voice. In this stillness, in this understanding, the tribe found their deepest peace. The world turns, the seasons breathe, and the nomads, with quiet acceptance, move with them, forever part of the great circle that guides all life across the endless steppe. There comes a moment near the end of every year when the steppe grows so quiet that it feels as though the entire world is taking one long, slow breath. A moment when the winds soften, when the sky stretches wide in pale colors, when the land rests in gentle stillness, not empty, not silent, but calm in a way only the steppe understands. It is in this moment that the tribe feels the full weight and the full lightness of the year behind them. The cycle has turned again. Summer's warmth, autumn's gold, winter's silence, spring's awakening. Each season has carried them, fed them, taught them, held them. And now, as they stand on the quiet edge of a new beginning, they feel the truth their ancestors knew for centuries. Life does not move forward. Life turns, slowly, endlessly, like the wheel of a cart rolling beneath the open sky. This wheel guides every step, every migration, every fire lit inside the yurts, every herd moving through tall grass, every child learning the shape of the wind. To the tribe, time is not a path, it is a feeling, a warmth on the skin, a scent in the air, a softness in the earth, a shift in the sky. The year lives in their senses. The memory of fresh grass belongs to summer. The taste of dried meat belongs to winter. The sound of running water belongs to spring. The smell of wood smoke belongs to autumn nights. All these memories flow together like streams joining into a single river, quiet, steady, deep. And the river flows in a circle without beginning or end. The tribe knows they are part of this movement. Their lives are woven gently into the breath of the land. The felt of the yurts warmed by countless fires, the leather ropes softened by many hands, the saddles carried through valleys and across mountain passes, the tools shaped from wood and cared for season after season. All these things hold stories, not of moments, but of cycles. They hold the memory of returning to the same valley with new grass, of hearing the same birds call across the morning sky, of lighting a fire in the same pattern of stars their ancestors once saw. The tribe is not separate from the world around them. They move because the land moves. They rest because the land rests. They wake because the land wakes. And when they breathe at night beneath the great open sky, their breath rises in soft clouds that join the wind and travel far across the steppe. In this breath, in this small gesture of being alive, they feel the truth of their existence. Everything returns. Everything begins again. The elders sit near the night fire, wrapped in warm felt, their faces calm and illuminated by soft orange light. They have watched many years turn. They have felt the great circle move beneath their feet more times than they can count. They do not speak. They do not need to. Their silence is full of understanding. It holds the memory of storms, of clear mornings, of distant migrations, of countless fires lit under endless skies. Children sleep nearby, their breaths slow and gentle, their dreams shaped by the soft crackle of flames and the deep quiet of the night. Animals rest around the camp, horses lowering their heads into thick grass, sheep curled close together,
dogs stretched comfortably near the warmth of the yurts. The land holds them all. Above, the stars bloom in great clusters, a wide river of white light that stretches from horizon to horizon. It feels close enough to touch, yet ancient enough to humble every heart. The tribe sees their ancestors there, not as figures or spirits, but as memories woven into the light. They see the paths their families walked, the valleys they crossed, the seasons they lived through, and they understand that they too are adding their steps to that great map in the sky. The fire dims, the night deepens, the air cools into a gentle blue stillness, and in this quiet, the tribe feels the future approaching, not as something uncertain, nor as something distant, but something familiar, something soft, something they already know.
Because the cycle continues, because the land breathes, because life repeats in gentle, endless circles. Soon the warm winds will return, grass will rise, birds will sing, children will run through bright summer fields. Horses will lift their heads to the morning sun. Streams will sparkle beneath clear skies. The world will be new again, yet exactly the same as it has always been. And the tribe will move through that world with calm steps, steady hearts, and deep acceptance. For they understand what few others do. To live with the land is to live with time. To follow the seasons is to follow truth. To move in circles is to move in harmony. The year closes softly, like a page turning without sound. And the next year opens just as gently, a breath, a sunrise, a warm wind passing through tall grass. The tribe remains part of it all, a quiet presence in the wide, endless steppe, a thread in the great weaving of nature, a heartbeat in the long, slow rhythm of time. The fire fades, the stars shine, the land rests, and the cycle begins again.